I'm going to give you something deep to think about today, guys. At our current level, most human beings are highly egocentric. I don't mean that in a disrespectful or judgmental way. What I mean is that we tend to think that everything is about us when in fact, we are learning that we are simply grains of sand, and few of us ever try to understand the beach or the vast ocean that passes over us in an extremely cyclic manner day after day for eternity. So we're going to look at a concept that I found in the CIA declassified document on consciousness, and so much more that I will link in the video for your review. Have you ever considered the possibility that healing doesn't begin in the body at all, but in the way the brain organizes our reality? Wild idea, isn't it? And we're going to be examining the closely guarded secret of healing and one other way that Medbeds will invite our bodies to become part of a better reality. But you must always remember that we are co-creators, and we can just as easily be part of co-destruction if we don't wake up to the energy around us. The energy that helps us create everything in our world, even though that seems like a cruel statement. Once you understand what creates our reality, you will see it not from an egocentric viewpoint, but you'll understand how infinitesimal we really are. You won't get angry or get your feelings hurt. You will awaken to the reality of existence and eventually learn to master it if you practice. All of the anger, fear, and feelings of inadequacy are so harmful to you, and it's so easy to finally let go of everything that is causing your body and your reality to decay. We can really fix it. Buried inside a declassified intelligence document is a concept that quietly challenges how we think about consciousness, perception, and even recovery from illness. It's called brain inphase. And once you understand it, the idea of advanced healing technologies, like off-world medbeds, begin to take on a very different kind of understanding that provides so many answers and begins to make sense of the randomness and elusive secrets of what makes life meaningful. At its simplest, brain inphase describes a state where the left and right hemispheres of the brain stop operating as separate, competing processors and instead function in coherence, in sync, at the same frequency, sharing information efficiently. In everyday life, this rarely happens for long. One side analyzes, labels, and judges. The other senses, integrates, and understands patterns. But when the two come into phase, something remarkable occurs. The brain becomes capable of processing reality as a whole system, not just fragments. The declassified document explains this using a holographic example of perception. Imagine reality not as solid objects, but as overlapping energy patterns, like a hologram. To make sense of this immense field of information in these energy patterns, the mind superimposes a three-dimensional grid, which allows the brain to describe complex energy patterns using geometry and mathematics. It then reduces that data or information into a manageable, two-dimensional form or blueprint. This is how raw energy becomes images, sensations, thoughts, and meaning. Hang on. It's getting difficult to grasp, so let's consider that the human mind works much like a digital computer at its most basic level. By using a binary system of go or no-go, comparison and contrast. We don't perceive things directly, we perceive differences, right? Light versus dark, stillness versus motion, health versus imbalance. It's what Taoism has taught us for decades. One has no meaning without the other, which mirrors the Taoist balance of yin and yang, where opposing forces remain distinct yet harmonized to create clarity, stability, and wholeness. They've been telling us throughout the ages, and we are finally awakening. The government document puts it plainly, our whole reality is constructed by constantly making such comparisons. This means perception itself is an active process, not just passive observation. Since it's an active process, it's responding to us. I want to say this, guys. Everybody strives to be somebody in a cosmos where we are so infinitesimal. But if we bring our focus to our own reality and experiences, ours is the most important voice in the organization. What we think or say goes very effortlessly. Let's look deeper at our brain. In our normal waking state, the logical side of the brain is usually in charge. It sorts everything it sees and feels into categories. It compares new information to the past and decides what's familiar, what's safe, and what makes sense. This helps us function day to day, but it also limits how much information we can truly take in. In deeper states of awareness, like meditation, deep relaxation, or advanced healing environments, the balance shifts. The intuitive side of the brain steps forward. Instead of breaking information into pieces, it takes in the whole picture all at once. It senses the body and the surrounding environment as one connected system. When the brain is in phase, the logical side doesn't turn off. It comes into harmony with the intuitive side. Together, they work as a unified system. One side receives the full picture, and the other helps translate it into clear signals the body can use. The result isn't confusion, it's clarity. In this state, the brain can sense where the body is out of balance by comparing it to a deeper pattern of wholeness. And when the body recognizes that pattern, healing can begin naturally, efficiently, and with remarkable precision. This is where the implications for healing become pretty profound. If the brain truly operates by comparison, then healing may depend less on forcing the body to change and more on presenting it with the correct reference to compare. In other words, the body doesn't need to be commanded to heal. It needs to be shown what healthy actually looks like at the energetic and informational level so that it can mimic that. This is the foundation behind off-world medbed technology. Medbeds are said to work not by chemically overriding the body, but by placing the brain and the entire nervous system into a deeply coherent, phase-locked state. In this phase-locked state, the brain receives a complete holographic map of the body's optimal structure and function. Every organ, tissue, and system is compared against that reference. And because perception drives regulation, the body begins correcting itself. When the brain is in phase, it's no longer trapped in fragmented signals like pain here or inflammation there with isolated and misunderstood damage. Instead, it perceives the body as a single integrated field. This allows healing responses to be coordinated rather than localized and intelligent rather than reactive. Regeneration becomes a systems-level process. Importantly, healing accelerates not because time is forced to move faster, but because interference is removed. When incoherent brain signals quiet down, the body's natural repair mechanisms operate without distortion. The medbed doesn't do the healing. It creates the conditions under which healing becomes inevitable. This also explains why consciousness matters. If the brain must operate in coherence to process holographic information, this means that emotional regulation, mental stillness, and neurological balance aren't spiritual ideations. They are functional requirements. A brain locked in fear, stress, or fragmentation cannot sustain phase coherence, but a brain brought gently into synchrony can access information far beyond ordinary awareness. The declassified document stops short of discussing healing technologies directly, but the implications are unmistakable. A brain capable of operating as a coherent holographic interpreter is no longer limited to surface symptoms. It can detect imbalance before it becomes disease. It can reorganize biological systems from the inside out. This is why future medicine may look less like intervention and more like alignment. It's so important to understand that this isn't just about advanced technology. It's about where humanity is heading. As more people learn to quiet internal noise, regulate emotional states, and bring their own hemispheres into better balance, The same principles apply but on a smaller scale. Practices like meditation, sound frequencies, breathwork, and focused intention all work toward coherence. It's really not necessary to sit for hours in meditation because the brain wants to mimic frequencies that it encounters. This is called the frequency following response, which is also addressed in this declassified document. I did a video about it, and will link it as one of the videos at the end and in the description. I've done a lot of analysis on the various cosmic truths released in this document, and most are in the Medbed playlist below this video. There's numerous mechanisms that the brain uses to heal by simply putting us in positions of high frequencies where we can train the brain to process information more holistically or naturally. Meditation can enhance or intensify, but the body offers us so many ways to heal. So in that sense, medbeds are not separate from human evolution. They are simply an extension of it, and there's so much more in store for mankind. Addressing the brain in phase reframes our understanding of healing as a collaboration between consciousness and biology. It shows us that the future of medicine is not invasive. It's not a suppression of disease, and it's not a mechanical or removal of offending tissue. It sounds crazy, but healing is informational. It's about transmitting the proper frequencies rather than a particular drug. Healing becomes the restoration of accurate perception. The awareness of the truth rather than numbing our minds and surrendering to a system that most certainly causes more damage than good in many circumstances. At its best, Western medicine does not harm in the long run, but it rarely repairs your body or what's causing the disease. When the brain sees clearly, the body follows. And that is the most important thing to grasp that can alter the trajectory of lives. Each and every one of us has the intelligence required for the profound healing that already exists within us. You don't need to have any particular IQ, because healing only requires you to believe. Technology may help unlock it, accelerate it, and stabilize it. But the blueprint has always been there, waiting for the moment when the mind remembers how to come into phase with itself. That moment is not science fiction. It is simply coherence, or a state where the various parts of a system work together in harmony, moving in sync, so that the information and energy flow smoothly and efficiently. At X-Pharmacon, we will be experiencing and practicing numerous energetic practices. If you embrace only one of those practices and focus on it daily, the frequencies of your cells will slowly begin to bring your entire body into alignment, but we'll give you several quick practices that can change your life. You'll leave with an intense analysis of your personal situation, a plan and an intention to change it, and the tools and practices to realize that change. If everything we've explored today about quantum healing, frequency alignment, and stepping into higher states of well-being resonates with you, then we have an experience that will help you incorporate these practices in your daily life. So head over to xpharmacon.com right now and reserve your spot for our upcoming 3-day immersive healing experience in Panama City Beach. What sets X-Pharmacon apart is the level of personalization. Every VIP ticket includes your own assigned seat in the front, so the earlier you book, the better your choice. Once registered, you'll be personally contacted to select your seat and submit up to 3 important questions that you'd like answered during the event. No lines, no waiting. Just direct focus on what matters most to you. You'll also receive your own workbook designed to guide your transformation, helping us tailor the experience to your unique journey. We have just 2 months to reach our minimum commitment, or we'll be forced to cancel. Tim and I have poured our hearts and resources into creating this powerful community gathering, and we're fully committed, but we need your support to make it happen. If you're ready to go deeper, heal on a quantum level, and connect with like-minded souls, secure your place today at xpharmacon.com. Let's make this transformative event a reality, together. See you at the crystal beach that was chosen for the very unique energy that it emits.